The alien bar was full of noise, bright lights, and strange smells. Colored lamps glowed on the walls, and different alien voices mixed with music. It was a place where humans were not respected. They were only workers, servants, or weak entertainers. In the middle of this crowd, a young human waiter moved from table to table, carrying drinks with quiet steps. He was tall but lean, his shirt plain and worn, his eyes focused only on his work. Most aliens ignored him, some laughed at him, some whispered insults, but he said nothing. At one corner table sat a young alien girl with blue skin and silver hair. Her eyes glowed faintly under the neon light, her cheeks flushed with drink. She was laughing loudly with her friends, speaking in her alien tongue. But when her glass emptied, her gaze fell on the human waiter. She smirked, her mind clouded by drink, and as he passed, she suddenly grabbed his arm. The room grew a little quieter as her voice rose above the music. "Human," she said with a teasing tone. "You walk too stiff. Are you even real?" The human stopped, his eyes calm, his voice low. "Please let go, miss." But the alien girl only laughed harder, her friends encouraging her. In her drunken play, she yanked him closer, her hand clutching his shirt. With one sudden pull, the fabric tore, buttons popped into the air, rolling across the floor. The sound echoed, sharp and surprising. The music seemed to fade away. The human froze, his chest exposed under the broken shirt. Across his skin were glowing marks, strange lines and symbols that seemed alive. They shimmered faintly in blue and silver light, pulsing like a heartbeat. The alien girl's smile disappeared at once, her drunken eyes wide with shock. She stumbled back, her chair scraping against the floor. Her friends fell silent, their laughter dying instantly. The entire bar stopped, all voices fading, all eyes turning to the human. Aliens of many shapes and colors stared in silence, their drinks left forgotten. Whispers rose, quick and sharp, voices full of fear and recognition. "That mark," someone hissed. "Impossible." Another alien leaned forward. "It cannot be, not here." The human stood still, his fists tight at his side, but his face calm. The alien girl's heart pounded, her eyes locked on the glowing mark. She had seen it before, not in life, but in old stories whispered in her homeworld. A symbol of war, a symbol of danger, a symbol that no human should carry now. Because humans were supposed to be broken, weak, defeated long ago. But this waiter was standing here, silent, his chest glowing with the forbidden sign. Her breath caught in her throat. She whispered without meaning to, "It's real." The silence in the bar thickened like smoke. Every alien waited for the human to speak. But he said nothing, his eyes sweeping the room slowly. His secret was exposed, and there was no going back. The alien girl felt her drunken haze vanish completely, her mind spinning with questions. Why was a human carrying this mark? Why was he hiding as a waiter? And why did looking at him suddenly feel like looking at something far greater than she had ever imagined? The torn shirt hung loosely from his shoulders, the marks glowing brighter with each breath. The alien girl could not look away, her hands trembling on the table. She knew one truth in that moment. The galaxy would never treat this human as just a waiter again. Because what she had revealed, what she had foolishly torn open in drunken play, was a secret powerful enough to shake her world and his. And though she did not yet know it, her action had changed everything forever. The bar stayed frozen after the shirt was torn. No one moved, no one breathed. Every alien eye was locked on the human waiter and the glowing marks across his chest. The music had stopped long ago. The strange machines that played alien tunes now seemed distant, as if the whole place had been cut away from the rest of the colony. The alien girl who had torn his shirt could not believe what she was seeing. Her blue skin felt pale under the light, her silver hair falling into her wide eyes, her drunkenness gone in a second. She had heard whispers of the symbol when she was a child, stories told by elders late at night, legends of humans who fought with fire in their hearts, legends of a mark that meant power, war, and destiny. But she never believed it. No one did, because humans were thought weak, broken, their empire destroyed long ago. They were nothing more than workers and servants now. Yet here in front of her, standing with calm eyes and a torn shirt, was a human carrying that very mark. The whispers began to spread among the crowd. "Impossible," a reptilian alien muttered. its scales rattling with unease. Look, the lines glow with life. Another hissed, its many eyes blinking in fear. Kill him before others know. A voice growled from the shadows. The alien girl's heart raced, her stomach twisting. She wanted to speak, but her mouth was dry. The human finally moved, his voice quiet but firm. Go back to your drinks. There is nothing here for you to fear. But no one listened. The silence only grew heavier. Every alien waited for someone else to act. The girl's friends pulled at her arm, whispering, "You touched him. You tore his shirt. You brought this curse. Leave now before they blame you." She shook her head, her silver hair falling across her face. "No," she whispered. "I must know what it means." She looked at the human again, and their eyes met. For a moment it felt like time stopped. Her glowing alien eyes and his steady human gaze locked together. There was no anger in his look, no panic, only a tired calm, as if he had been hiding for years and always knew this day would come. One of the bigger aliens, a massive brute with tusks, stood from his seat, his voice booming. "Human, you will explain this mark." He pointed a thick claw toward the waiter's chest. "That symbol belongs to warriors, not servants, not to one who carries drinks." The human did not flinch. His words were slow. "It is only a memory." But the tusked alien slammed his hand on the table, making glasses fall. "Lies," he roared. "That mark is forbidden. It is the fire of your people. It is death to us." The girl felt fear crawl up her spine. She remembered her father's voice telling her of the war, telling her how humans once rose and almost burned the galaxy. She thought humans were weak now, yet the mark on his chest glowed as if alive, as if the past itself breathed again. Her lips trembled. She spoke louder. "Tell me what it means. Human, tell me who you really are." The crowd leaned closer, their alien faces filled with hunger for answers. The human finally sighed, his hands at his side. "I am only a man who wished to be forgotten." But the marks on his chest betrayed his words. They pulsed brighter, silver light moving like veins of fire. The girl's friends were already moving away, afraid that soldiers might come, afraid that death might fall on the bar. Others stayed, curious or greedy, wondering if the mark could give them power if they controlled the human. The whispers grew louder. The word war passed from mouth to mouth, and the fear of old legends returned to living memory. The human looked down at his torn shirt, then back at the alien girl, and he spoke again, quieter, only for her. "You should not have done this." Her voice shook. "I did not know. I thought you were only a servant." He gave a small nod. "That is what I wanted you to think." The bar doors slammed open, and two armored aliens stepped inside, their weapons glowing faintly in the neon light. The crowd shifted back, voices falling into silence again. These were enforcers, the keepers of law in the colony, and they did not tolerate forbidden symbols. Their eyes locked instantly on the human, and their voices were sharp. "You, human, come with us." The alien girl felt her breath stop. She realized in that instant that tearing his shirt had not only exposed a secret, it had doomed him. The enforcers began to push through the crowd, their weapons humming louder. The human stood tall, his chest still glowing, his voice calm even in the face of danger. "If you wish to take me, then know the truth first." The alien girl's mind spun. Fear and curiosity mixed inside her. She knew the night was no longer simple. Her drunken game had awoken something greater than herself. She stared at the human waiter, no longer seeing him as weak, no longer seeing him as only a servant. He was something else, something her people feared, something her legends warned about. And though she wanted to look away, she could not, because deep inside she felt the truth. This human was about to change her life, and perhaps the life of the entire galaxy. The heavy boots of the alien enforcers echoed across the metal floor of the bar, their armored suits glowing faintly with built-in lights, their weapons humming like angry machines. The crowd pulled back quickly, tables scraped, chairs toppled. Nobody wanted to stand in the way of the law. The human waiter stood still in the middle of the room, his torn shirt hanging loose, the glowing marks across his chest shining brighter under the neon lamps. The alien girl who had torn the shirt felt her pulse racing faster and faster. She wanted to hide, but could not move. Her silver hair clung to her face, her glowing eyes wide with fear. One of the enforcers pointed directly at the human, his voice cold and sharp. By order of the Colony Council, you are under arrest. Surrender now. The other enforcer raised his weapon higher, ready to fire if the human tried to resist. The silence in the bar was complete. The only sounds were the hum of the weapons and the faint crackle of neon signs on the wall. The human finally spoke, his voice calm, steady. Why? The lead enforcer sneered. You carry the mark of the old war, the forbidden fire of humanity. It is treason for a human to show it. It is death for a colony to allow it. The alien girl's throat tightened. She had never heard anyone speak those words aloud. They were supposed to be myths, ghost stories told to frighten children. Yet here they were, spoken as law. The human lowered his eyes briefly, then raised them again. I am no soldier now. I am no enemy to you. I only wished for peace. But the crowd did not believe. The whispers rose louder. He lies. He is dangerous. Kill him before he brings ruin. The tusked brute from earlier shouted again, his deep voice shaking the walls. He is one of them. The humans who once tried to destroy us all. Do not let him live. The alien girl flinched at his words. She remembered the human's steady gaze when she first tore his shirt. There was no hatred in his eyes, only weariness, only quiet strength. The enforcers stepped closer, their weapons ready. But before they could touch him, the human raised his hand slowly, not in attack, but in warning. The glowing marks on his chest pulsed brighter, a wave of light spreading across his skin. The entire bar gasped. The enforcers paused for a moment, their grips tight on their weapons. The alien girl whispered without meaning to, "What are you?" Her voice trembling, but the human turned his gaze to her and answered softly, "A survivor." The crowd shifted uneasily. Some pressed closer to see, some stepped back in fear. The tension was heavy like a storm waiting to break. The lead enforcer growled, "Do not test us, human. Surrender or be cut down where you stand." The human's jaw tightened. For a moment, it looked like he might give up. His shoulders slumped slightly, his eyes lowered. Then he lifted his head again with a strength that made the alien girl's heart pound. "I was once part of the human defense fleet," he said clearly, his voice carrying through the entire bar. "I fought in the last days of the war. I carry this mark because I earned it, because I bled for it." The crowd erupted into chaos. Voices shouted over each other. Lies. Impossible. The fleet was destroyed. He should be dead. He cannot be one of them. The alien girl's chest tightened. She knew what he was saying could not be true, yet the glow of his mark and the fire in his voice made it impossible to deny. Her hands shook against the table. Her mind screamed for her to run, but her heart would not let her leave. She wanted to know more. She needed to know more. The tusked brute roared again. "Kill him now before the lie spreads." But his voice was drowned by the rush of alien bodies pushing and pulling, some against the human, some for him. Chaos spread like fire. The enforcers tried to restore order, shouting commands. But the human's revelation had broken the silence forever. The alien girl stood slowly, her voice barely a whisper at first, then louder. "Wait." The crowd fell still for a moment, eyes turning to her. She swallowed hard. "If he is lying, let him prove it. If he speaks truth, we cannot ignore it." The enforcers glared at her. "This is not for you to decide." But the crowd had already changed. Some aliens now wanted to see the truth, curiosity stronger than fear. The human looked at her, and for the first time he allowed the smallest trace of a smile. Faint, tired, but real. "You tore my shirt," he said quietly, "and now you tear the lie open too." Her cheeks burned, her chest heavy with emotion. She had not meant to be part of this, yet she could not escape it now. The lead enforcer raised his weapon again, shouting, "You will come with us, human." But the human stood taller, the glowing marks spreading across his arms. The girl gasped. The light was no longer only on his chest. It reached like veins of silver fire down his skin, pulsing with life. The crowd froze again. Many stepped back in awe. Some dropped their drinks to the floor. One whispered in terror, "He is awakening." The human's voice was steady. "If you want me, you will hear my story first. You will know the truth before you judge me." The alien girl's heart thundered. She did not know why she felt drawn to him, but every word he spoke felt heavier than stone. The enforcers hesitated, their weapons ready but their hands trembling slightly. Even they could feel the power rising. The human did not attack. He only stood his ground, the torn shirt open, the glowing marks alive, his calm gaze sweeping the entire room. The alien girl realized then that nothing would be the same again. Her foolish drunken game had begun something she could not stop. And as the light from his marks spread brighter, she knew the galaxy itself would soon learn his secret. The glow from the human's body did not fade. It spread like living fire under his skin. The silver blue lines moved across his arms and shoulders, pulsing with a rhythm like a heartbeat. Every alien in the bar could feel the weight of it, as if the air had turned heavier, thicker, harder to breathe. The enforcers stepped back slightly, though they tried to hide their fear. Their weapons still pointed, but their voices less certain. One whispered to the other, "This is not normal. This is not supposed to exist anymore." The alien girl could not take her eyes away, her hands pressed against the table to keep her balance, her heart pounding. She knew she had started this by tearing his shirt. She knew she could not undo it, yet part of her wanted to know where this would lead. The tusked brute was the first to recover, his loud voice rising above the whispers. "He is dangerous. He is cursed. Destroy him before he brings ruin to us all." He grabbed a broken bottle from the floor and raised it high. His muscles tensed, but the crowd pulled him back, not because they wanted to save the human, but because fear made them hesitate. They wanted proof. They wanted to know before blood was spilled. The human's calm voice filled the silence again. "I did not come here to fight. I wanted to live quietly, hidden, forgotten. But your people never forget the war, even when it is over." His words cut through the air like a blade, sharp and heavy. Many aliens shifted uncomfortably. Some lowered their eyes. Others clenched their fists. The enforcers tried to regain control. "Enough. We will take him now. The council will decide his fate." But their words had less power than before, because the crowd no longer wanted silence. They wanted answers. The alien girl stood slowly, her chair scraping against the floor. All eyes turned to her. She swallowed her fear and spoke. "If he is lying, we will know. But if he speaks truth, then killing him now will blind us forever." Her voice shook but carried weight, because she had been the one who tore his shirt. She had been the one who revealed the secret. Now she was tied to him, whether she wanted or not. The human looked at her again, his eyes calm, and he gave the smallest nod, as if thanking her without words. The crowd began to argue among themselves, some shouting for his death, some demanding his arrest, others whispering about the legend of the mark, about prophecies and forgotten wars. One alien, older and thinner, stepped forward with trembling hands. "I saw this symbol once, long ago, when I was a child. It was on the battlefield. It was burned into my memory, and those who carried it were not servants. They were destroyers." His words sent a shiver through the bar, yet they also made the moment heavier with curiosity, because now the legend was alive again. The human raised his hand, not in violence, but in calm. "Yes, I was a soldier, but I am not a destroyer. I am not here to start war. I only wanted to serve drinks and be left alone." The irony of his words twisted inside the alien girl. She almost laughed, but her throat was too tight. A soldier who wanted to be a waiter, a warrior who wanted to be invisible, and yet his mark burned too bright for anyone to ignore. The enforcers shouted again, "Silence, he will come with us." And they began to move closer, their weapons raised. But the crowd surged between them, voices rising in anger, curiosity, and fear. The enforcers were pushed back, their authority crumbling in the chaos. The alien girl suddenly felt a hand on her arm, one of her friends pulling hard. "You must leave now. This is no longer a game. If you stay, they will tie you to him. They will punish you too." But she shook her head violently, her silver hair whipping across her face. "No, I must see this. I must know who he is." Her friend cursed and ran for the door, but she stayed rooted in place. Her eyes on the human, her heart tied to the glowing light across his chest. The tusked brute roared again, breaking free of the crowd. "If no one will act, then I will." And he lunged forward, the broken bottle in his hand flashing under the neon glow. The human did not flinch, his hand shot out with speed, catching the brute's arm mid-swing. The glowing lines across his skin blazed brighter, and with one push the brute was thrown across the bar, crashing into a table with a roar of pain. The crowd gasped, some screamed, The enforcers raised their weapons. The girl's breath caught in her throat, because she had just seen a power that no simple waiter should ever possess. The human's voice remained steady, even after the fight. I do not wish to hurt anyone, but I will not let myself be killed like an animal. If you want me, then come, but know the truth first. His words silenced the crowd again, his glowing skin making him look less like a man and more like something larger, something that carried weight beyond the walls of the bar. The alien girl felt her body tremble, yet deep inside she felt a spark of something else, not only fear, but also awe, because she realized humans were not weak, not broken, not forgotten. They were still something more. The enforcers looked at each other, uncertain. The crowd waited in tense silence, and the girl knew this was only the beginning. What she had started by tearing his shirt had grown into something no one could stop, a truth too powerful to remain hidden, a light too bright to be buried. And as the human stood tall with his glowing marks blazing across his body, the alien girl whispered to herself, barely loud enough for anyone else to hear, "He is not just a man, he is a storm waiting to rise." The bar smelled of smoke and fear. Overturned drinks covered the floor. Voices trembled in the air. Every alien eye was fixed on the human who stood glowing like a living flame. The enforcers still held their weapons high, but hesitation filled their stance. The tusked brute groaned on the ground where he had been thrown, and the alien girl stood frozen, caught between fear and something she could not yet name. The human finally broke the silence, his voice heavy but steady. "You want to know what this mark means? You want to know why I wear it? Then listen, because I will not hide anymore." The crowd shifted, some leaning closer, others backing away. The alien girl's heart pounded as his words carried through the smoke, his chest rising with every breath, the glowing lines moving like living fire. "I was not always a waiter," he began, his eyes distant as if looking into the past. "Long ago, I was a soldier, a pilot in the human defense fleet. I fought in the last battles when our worlds burned, when our voices were drowned under alien armies, when the galaxy decided humanity must be erased." His words struck like thunder. Many aliens gasped. Some shook their heads. Some whispered lies. But the weight in his voice was too heavy to ignore. The alien girl felt her knees weaken. She grabbed the table to hold herself steady. She had heard stories of the old human fleet, told in fear, told in hatred, always painted as monsters who could never be trusted. And yet the man before her spoke not like a monster, but like someone scarred and tired. He continued, "We lost everything. Our colonies burned. Our ships fell from the sky. Our leaders were slaughtered, and those who survived were hunted like animals. I was there when the last fleet was broken. I watched my brothers and sisters fall. I carried this mark because it was given to those who swore never to surrender, never to bow. But when the war ended, there was nothing left to fight for." The glow across his skin flickered like embers in ash, his eyes heavy with memory. The bar had gone silent again. No alien dared to speak. The enforcers lowered their weapons slightly, torn between fear and awe. The human's voice grew softer. "I fled. I hid. I buried my name and wore the clothes of a servant. I thought if I disappeared, the galaxy would forget me, that I could forget myself. But the mark does not fade. It binds me. It reminds me of everything we lost and of everything we once were." The alien girl's throat tightened. Her heart beat louder. She whispered before she could stop herself, "Then why serve drinks? Why hide like a shadow?" The human turned his gaze to her, his eyes steady. "Because war makes ghosts of men. I wanted to be more than a ghost. Even if it meant being nothing at all. Even if it meant carrying trays and bowing my head. It was easier than carrying the fire inside me." Her chest ached at his words, because she could feel the weight of his loneliness, his silence, his hidden strength chained by grief. The crowd began to stir again. Some aliens shouted. Lies. Humans were crushed, their fleet destroyed. But others whispered, "He speaks truth. Look at the mark. No servant could carry it." The tusked brute, still groaning, spat blood and growled. "You admit you are one of them. Then you must die. Because humans cannot rise again. They cannot be trusted." The human looked down at him, his voice quiet but sharp. "We never wanted to rule you. We only wanted to live among the stars. But you feared us, so you burned us. and now you fear that even one survivor is too much. The alien girl clenched her fists, anger rising in her chest though she did not understand why. She had grown up believing humans were weak, pathetic, dangerous only in stories. But now, looking at this man, she saw truth in his eyes, pain carved into his face, strength pulsing through his body, and it made her question everything she had been taught. Her friends had already fled the bar, but she stayed, her silver eyes locked on him, her voice shaking. If you wanted to stay hidden, why reveal yourself now? The human's gaze softened. I did not reveal myself, you did. Her cheeks burned at his words. She remembered her drunken laugh, the sound of tearing cloth, the buttons rolling across the floor. She had thought it was only a joke, only a game, yet it had changed everything. The human continued. Maybe it was time. Maybe the galaxy was always going to find me. Maybe your hand tearing my shirt was only fate pushing me forward. The girl's breath caught in her chest. Fate. The word echoed inside her. She remembered the stories her people told of a prophecy, of a marked human who would return, of fire that would rise again. She shivered, unable to stop her thoughts. The enforcers exchanged nervous glances. One muttered, "If this is true, then the council must decide. Not us. We cannot kill him here, not with so many watching." But the other enforcer hissed back, "If he lives, the legend spreads. If he dies here, the fear ends." The crowd caught the argument, voices splitting into two sides, one shouting for blood, the other begging for truth. The bar shook with noise, the tension ready to explode. The human raised his voice above them all, strong and commanding. "You may kill me, you may chain me, but know this, humanity is not gone. We are not broken. We still live in every mark, in every scar, and in me." The light across his chest and arms flared brighter, filling the bar with a silver-blue glow. The aliens shielded their eyes. The girl gasped, her breath stolen, because she saw not just a man, but something larger, something eternal. And in her heart, she felt the truth. This human's hidden past was not finished. It was only the beginning. The silver-blue glow spread across the human's skin like fire in the dark. The marks pulsed brighter with each heartbeat. The air in the bar shook with the weight of his presence. Some aliens stumbled back in fear. Others leaned closer with awe. But no one could ignore him now, not even the enforcers. The two armored soldiers lifted their weapons higher, their metallic suits whirring as energy built inside their rifles. The lead enforcer shouted, "Enough of this, human. You are dangerous, and by the order of the council, you will be taken, dead or alive." The bar erupted in cries. Some aliens cheered for his death. Others shouted for his life. The tusked brute bellowed from the floor, "Kill him. Kill the ghost of war." The alien girl's heart raced so fast it hurt her chest. Her silver eyes locked on the human. She wanted to scream for him to run, but her voice stuck in her throat. Her hands shook on the edge of the table, her mind spinning with fear and something else, something like fire growing inside her. The human did not move, his voice steady even as the weapons hummed louder. "If you come for me, I will not kneel, I will not beg, I will stand." The lead enforcer sneered, his finger tightening on the trigger. The sound of energy charging filled the room like thunder. Then chaos exploded. The first shot fired. A bolt of glowing plasma rushed toward the human. The crowd screamed. Some ducked, some fled for the doors. The alien girl gasped as the light flashed across her vision. But the human raised his arm, the marks across his skin blazing. The bolt struck him and shattered into sparks before it could pierce his flesh. The crowd froze in shock. The enforcers stared in disbelief. The human stepped forward, his torn shirt falling away completely, his chest and arms glowing brighter than the neon lights of the bar, every line of his mark alive with power. The second enforcer fired, 3 rapid blasts, but each one broke apart against the human's glow, fragments raining down like falling stars. The alien girl shielded her face, her heart slamming against her ribs. She whispered, "Impossible." The human's voice boomed, not angry, but unshakable. "You cannot break me. You cannot erase me. I am not a shadow of the past. I am still here." He lunged forward, faster than the armored enforcers expected. His hand struck the first one's weapon, ripping it from his grip and throwing it across the bar. Sparks flew as it crashed against a table. The second enforcer swung at him with a glowing blade, but the human caught the weapon with his bare hand. The glow of his marks spread over the blade and snuffed it out like dying fire. The crowd gasped again, voices rising into a storm. Some cheered, some screamed, some ran out into the street shouting that the prophecy was alive. The tusked brute roared again and tried to charge, but the human turned his gaze on him, and the brute froze mid-step, his tusks trembling, his legs refusing to move, fear locking him in place. The alien girl could not breathe. Every movement of the human was both terrifying and beautiful. Every strike, every step, every word filled the bar with a power she had never felt before. The enforcers regrouped. One pulled a signal flare from his belt, shouting, "Back up, we need more troops." But before he could fire it, the human ripped the device from his hand and crushed it, sparks falling between his glowing fingers. His voice shook the air. No more chains, no more cages, no more silence. He looked at the crowd, his eyes glowing faintly like his marks. "You wanted me forgotten, but you cannot forget fire. You cannot forget humanity." For a moment the bar went quiet. The only sound the faint hum of the human's energy. The alien girl felt her body trembling. Her lips parted as if she wanted to say something, but could not form words. Her heart felt like it would burst. Then one of the enforcers, desperate and afraid, pulled a hidden blade and lunged straight at the human's chest. The alien girl screamed, "No!" And before she even understood why, she leapt forward, her body moving faster than her thoughts. She slammed into the enforcer's side, knocking his aim wide. The blade cut only the human's shoulder, grazing instead of piercing. The human turned in surprise, his eyes locking on her, the silver-haired alien girl who had torn his shirt now standing at his side, breathless, trembling, but unbroken. The enforcer growled and swung again, but this time the human's glowing fist struck his chest. The armor cracked like glass. The enforcer flew back into the wall and did not rise again. The last enforcer, seeing his partner defeated, stumbled back in terror, his weapon shaking. "He cannot be fought. He cannot be stopped," he cried, before rushing toward the door, disappearing into the night. The bar was left in silence. Broken tables and spilled drinks scattered everywhere. The tusked brute lay unconscious. The crowd pressed against the walls, none daring to move, all staring at the human who now stood with glowing marks and bleeding shoulder. And at his side stood the alien girl, her breath heavy, her silver eyes wide, her hands still trembling from the strike she had made. The human looked at her, his voice softer than before. "Why?" She swallowed hard, her voice barely a whisper. "Because I could not let them take you. Not after what I saw, not after what I know." The glow from his body dimmed slightly, flickering like a fire calming after the storm, but it was not gone. It would never be gone. The alien girl realized then that she had crossed a line. She had chosen a side, and it was his, no matter what the rest of the galaxy thought. And in the silence that followed, with the crowd watching and the air heavy with fear and awe, she whispered the words that would seal her fate forever. "You are not alone." The bar stood in ruins, broken tables scattered, shattered glass glowing faintly under the neon light. Smoke and dust hung in the air. The crowd pressed against the walls, too afraid to move, too afraid to speak. All eyes locked on the human who stood glowing with power, his torn shirt gone, his chest marked with silver fire, and beside him the alien girl who had torn it, trembling but unyielding. The human's breath was heavy. Blood trickled from the cut on his shoulder, yet his stance was strong, his glowing eyes sweeping across the room. No longer hiding, no longer silent. He had shown the truth of what he was, and no one could deny it now. The alien girl's heart pounded. She could feel her body shaking, but she did not step away. Her silver hair fell across her face. Her glowing eyes locked on him. She had chosen, even if she did not fully understand why, she had chosen to stand with him. The last enforcer's words still echoed in the room. "He cannot be fought. He cannot be stopped." And though he had fled, everyone knew more soldiers would come. The colony would not forget this night. The council would not ignore the fire that had awakened. The tusked brute groaned, his tusks broken, his pride shattered. He spat blood and growled. "You have cursed us all. Human, the council will come. The armies will come, and they will burn this place to ash to erase you." The human turned his gaze to him, calm and steady. Then let them come. I will not run again. The alien girl's chest tightened at his words. Part of her wanted to scream for him to flee, to hide again. But another part of her, stronger than the first, wanted him to stand, wanted him to rise, because she could feel it. Something about him was bigger than this colony, bigger than the council, bigger even than the war itself. Her lips trembled as she spoke. Your mark. I know it. I remember the old stories, the ones we thought were lies. The mark was not only a symbol of war, it was also a prophecy. The crowd gasped, some murmured, some shook their heads. But she continued, her voice shaking yet clear. My people told tales of a human whose body would carry the fire of the stars, a human who would rise when all believed humanity was broken, a human who would bring change to the galaxy, for good or for ruin. Her eyes locked on him, her voice dropping to a whisper. Your mark is not only memory, it is destiny. The human's face hardened, his eyes narrowed, his voice low. I am no prophet, I am no savior. I am only a man who survived when others did not. But the glow across his body betrayed his words, pulsing brighter as if the fire itself disagreed. The crowd shivered, voices rising. The prophecy. It is true. He is the one. The tusked brute roared weakly. No, no prophecy, only lies. But even he sounded broken, his words empty against the glow that filled the bar. The alien girl stepped closer to the human, her silver eyes wide, her voice trembling. You may not believe it, but you cannot deny it. You are more than a man. You are a storm, and the galaxy will never forget this night. The human looked at her, his expression heavy, burdened, his glowing eyes softening for a moment. And what of you? He asked quietly. You tore my shirt. You revealed my truth. You stood with me. What will you do now? Her breath caught, her voice faltered, but she found her strength. I will not turn away. If this is fate, then I will walk it beside you. The human's eyes lingered on her, the glow dimming slightly, his voice soft. Then you have tied yourself to fire, and fire does not forgive. She smiled faintly, though her body trembled. Then let it burn. The silence of the bar was broken as the crowd finally moved. Some fled into the night, desperate to warn the colony. Others stayed frozen, their eyes full of fear and awe. The enforcers would return, the council would send soldiers, but the spark had already been lit, and nothing would put it out again. The human straightened his back, his voice rising strong and clear. You wanted to bury humanity, but you cannot bury fire. You cannot bury the truth. I will not hide again. The alien girl stood at his side, her presence a quiet defiance against everything she had been taught, against the lies of her people, her silver hair glowing faintly in the reflection of his light. Her lips whispered one last truth. You are not the end of your people. You are the beginning. The human's gaze swept across the broken bar, across the faces that would carry this story to every corner of the colony, across the night beyond the doors where soldiers would soon arrive. And in that moment, as the silver-blue light pulsed brighter than ever, the galaxy shifted, because one alien girl had torn a shirt and revealed not just a man, but the storm that would change everything.